fantasy sports coaches. We are here to deliver you another episode of Game Day Squad's Aussie Rule Show. And what we're going to be doing is looking at a player's performance from a fantasy perspective, as we do every single week. My name is Tom, and I have my co-host, Cal, with me today, ready to rip in, talk footy for the round that just was. Mate, how you going? Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go, mate. No Kerm, unfortunately, this week. His sons didn't get up against my power, so he's decided not to show up to work this morning. I think the loss was just too much for him to take. But I'm here. My team at the moment, absolutely fantastic. By my team, I mean my beloved Port Adelaide. Not, unfortunately, the fantasy team that I'm going to be talking about today. The team that actually is mine, or the squad that is mine, I should say. Of course, being here with Game Day Squad. I'm keen to get into talking about that. You and me, with Game Day Squad, we actually found ourselves at the Rugby League yesterday at the Titans game. What we can definitely say just from that experience, Aussie Rules is definitely the way to go. So very keen to crack in and see how our teams went this week.
Well, a couple shots there, but mate, we are ready to talk footy. But we are here, as I said, because of Game Day Squad. Create, coach, and compete. Sign up today to open your 30 free starter packs and start building your dream squad. And speaking of dream squads, you touched on your fantasy team this week, Cal. It wasn't so dreamy, so why don't you take me through what happened this week, your score, and the decisions you ended up making?
Yeah, mate, the Peanut Butters did not have the week that I wanted them to have. You can see there I finished 70th for the round with a score of 2,378. Now, I haven't got my actual squad there. I've done a mistake and not captured that before I started making my changes for this round. But what you don't see there are things like me not playing Errol Goulden and opting to try and play Zach Bailey instead, which definitely hurt. Trying to look. I didn't go Rowan Marshall, unfortunately. I went Wits. I thought I was being smart playing him against the Power who didn't have a ruckman. But no, Wits did well. I think he did better than English, but nowhere near Marshall. And then Jake Lloyd, I know your boy. You've got a bone to pick with Nan Curvis for what he's done to your boy there. So just a few dud scores. I didn't really have anyone go huge for me that really sort of saved me outside of Dacos. So while that's probably not the worst score overall, it's nowhere near the scores we're going to show off in a short while when we show the top 10s.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And Nan Curvis, you're reading my mind, dude. I have a massive bone to pick with him. What is he doing? Absolute grub. I wish nothing but the worst for him for the rest of the season. You are legitimately the worst bloke. Like, I can't believe what you did. That was so intentional. There was not an accident. I watched it with my own two eyes. I was so upset at the time, bro. I can't believe you put that back in my head. I was really trying to move on past that moment. But, yeah, wow. Yeah, Nan Curvis, mate, you are a grub and you'll never be playing on my team. And it's because I'm English gang anyway. Speaking of my team, though, I'll move it over. Cal, you can see here, we bounced back this week. I've had a couple dud weeks. You've got me in the weekly competition, but I had to turn it around, mate.
Yeah, very good week for you. We were together, like we said yesterday, and you didn't actually tell me you had Luke Ryan playing until after he'd gone for that 176. So we ran the numbers and we're like, this is actually going to be pretty close. But I guess even without Luke Ryan, you still would have beat me by a couple hundred points, which you can see there. You're 14th overall. I'm still 15th. So you've done well. And you did that even with your scores of Timmy Taranto and Himmelberg and Tom Green. So talk us through, how did you manage to deal with those dud scores all being very close to 100, if not below?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, let's touch on the Tom Green thing first, because I had a little write-up here that I wanted to touch on because, mate, Tommy, what are you doing to me, brother? Like, we share the same name. I thought we were tight, but apparently you don't feel the same way about it. You single-handedly cost me a top 20 position this week. 79 fantasy points, mate. Jack Zeeble was the sub for North Melbourne this week, and he finished with 97. So I'm done with this. I still love you, but as of right now, mate, I can't reason to start you anymore. You've broken my heart, truly. Do you feel that's fair, Cal? Is that just what I'm saying, or am I going too far with this?
No, he broken your heart. We do know you love Tom Green. There was even a discussion that you had him up at potentially almost in the top of your dynasty rankings, particularly for midfielders. So you've got him higher than most would, even though a lot of people have him high, which just shows how much you expect from him. So I don't blame you for that. But I tell you what, you've got to be loving Duggan back there. 157 as a silver was fantastic. Dawson have always Mr. Reliable. And again, you played Goulden this week who didn't miss.
Yeah, let me give you some perspective of just how good my defenders were this week. My defending core was the core group of players that kept this team together. You mentioned some of the dud performances, but my backs were so good that the lowest score without a multiplier was 130 this week, and that came from Jack Sinclair. Like, what a tight-knit group there. Like, 130 your minimum. I can't even get that in my midfield right now, as you can see. Sarong was lower, Brayshaw lower, Green was lower. So my defenders, mate, I don't know how I'm going to get Sicily back in there, but someone's going to have to fall out because you know my thoughts on Sicily. Tough. And I'll quickly go, Tim English, it is time. I'll stand by your side forever, but don't listen to the haters or the naysayers, the Callums of this world who jump from Ireland to Gang and back to Marshall Island. Listen to me, English. Let's talk one-on-one right now. It's time for you to dominate this week, big fella. And you know who you have as a matchup? You've got the Swans and Tom Hickey. And I know you're 1,000 times better than him because I've had to watch him all season. So this is the week. You're going to ton up. You're going to ride. You're going to represent English Gang. And I cannot wait for this next matchup.
Maz, you normally accuse me of being on the warpath on a Monday morning, but you've gone after not only Nan Curvis, who, geez, yeah, look out, and then also Hickey as well. So, yeah. Far out. You can tell you're taking these Swans losses personally.
Yeah, mate. It's a new me. We spoke about it on the weekend. I'm going to embrace the tank now. You know, I want a high draft pick next year. I want us to have a better fixture for next season. We're all about next year, 2024. We're going to lift up that premiership trophy. This year, mate, just bin it. It's done. We're all good.
Well, speaking of people who won't be bidding it, check out the leaderboard we've got there. Of the top 10 in our two competitions for Aussie Rules on the weekend.
Wow.
You can see before, we thought we were doing well with our scores, but 2,711 for the Bailey Sniffers. Unbelievable score. Unbelievable score. And then Football Club FC dominating our champion competition by 20 points there. So congratulations to those guys. But another week where, unfortunately, none of us three end up on the leaderboard. I don't know what we need to be doing to get ourselves on there.
Mate, tell me about it. And I'll tell you what, I was 60 points off top 10. And I ended up finishing 33rd, mate. So there's technically 22 teams that are divided by only just 60 points. That's how tight it is this year. That's why you have one person dudding it up. It can cost you in our weekly competition. That's just how good it is. And Football Club FC is a name I haven't seen in a while, but it's a name that I love to read out. Took it out in our champion competition this week. If you know, you know. That's our boy. How good of a week he had.
Yeah, awesome. I haven't seen Cam's team there, but I'm sure it's going to be stacked. I've seen Bailey's, and it looks fantastic. I think we've got something coming out on our socials for that. But yeah, congratulations again to our top 10s. We hope we'll be joining you soon, one week.
Cal, before we get into our pack of the week this week, I wanted to play a little game with you. I've set up two different teams, and I want us to talk about which team and which side you're going to take out of the two. But I have a theme for this one, and I'm not going to tell you what the theme is necessarily. I want to see if you can guess it later on. But when you're looking at these two teams, there's a mindset that I want you to adopt with this. And you know, the best part about GameDay Squad is even if you join today, you still have a chance to compete in our weekly competition. So I don't want you to put your dynasty cap on. Throw that cap away right now. I want you thinking win now. We've only got a couple more weeks left in the season. I want you thinking, I want the best team possible to give myself a chance to compete in our weekly competition to round off this season. Are you ready for that, mate?
I don't know. I've taken off my dynasty hat since Game Day's been around. It's just been everything's been dynasty. I think that's evident in my poor performances each week and how I can get nowhere near the top 10. But maybe this is what I need to be doing. Maybe dynasty isn't for me. Maybe win now is. So yeah, chuck off this one and try and get that hat on for you.
Yeah, chuck that hat away. Sit it on the side though. We'll bring it back later. But for now, You're being extremely selfish. You're not adopting that Oklahoma City Thunder mindset. No draft picks here. Win now. We want players. We want players that are going to help improve the team. And let me read off our two teams here. Cal, in Team A, I've got 4 players for you. 1 in every single line group. Starting it off down back, Nick Blakey. Our midfielder is going to be Tom Green from the Giants. Ruckman, Max Gawn. And our forward for this group is going to be Tommy Papley. That's our 4.
All right.
Let's move on to the next 4. Team B, our defender is Lockie Weller from the Suns. Our midfielder for this group is Sam Walsh from Carlton. Our ruckman is Darcy Cameron from Collingwood. And our forward, Jamie Elliott from Collingwood as well. How are we feeling about that? Is there somewhere you're leaning towards right now, or if you've got to have a quick think about this one?
No, I'll talk you through what I'm thinking because, like you said, you're dropping this on me for the first time and you haven't got it in front of me. Yep. The viewers here will have it on the slide here, you can see, but I can't see it. So I'm trying to think through. I don't really love either team off the top, to be very honest with you. I'd really hope I don't have to play a lot of those players. I'm kind of thinking Sammy Walsh was probably the best player there, but this season he's just not, as a midfielder, he's just not reliable. I think he just missed out on forward status in the other games, but he's that close that he's being playing forward, and that's why his scores are so low. Tom Green up until now, up until the weekend, has been really, really good, and the Giants are still making that push. But on the other hand, I don't love Papley, I don't love Blakey, and I don't know who the fourth person you've got there for me. Was it Gawn in the ruck?
Gawn and Tommy Papley to round off that squad.
Don't love that, but I just think if I had to pick a team, is it cheating if I say I go Team A just because of the dynasty aspect, that I get to keep Tom Green? Because honestly, I can't choose between those two teams. I'd love to know who you're actually thinking, but I just think the Tom Green, the upside with the Giants still making that push, gives me the edge.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I hear you out, but I think it is cheating if you're looking at it from a dynasty perspective. I want your win now cap on. So what I want you to do then is, how about let's not pick the team. Do you know the theme that I went with picking all these players? There's something in common with all of these players.
Nah, couldn't pick it up as you're reading them out. What have you got?
Let me tell you, they're all underperformers. These are people who, either last year or this year started off the season hot, but their recent form isn't reflecting that same sort of production from earlier on. And I've got the 3 rounds averages for all the teams, and I've added them up. There's a 3-point difference between the two. So Team A, if you combine all the 3 round averages, is currently 368 points per week you can expect. Where Team B is 365. So although, you're talking about this, there might be some higher upside, this is quite even in terms of current form and how these players are playing. Did that surprise you at all?
It would not really. The team's 300. That's all less than 100 per player on average, which is kind of normally the bare minimum we look for at GameDay Squad. So, when you were saying the theme, I mean, I would have put a theme of a team of not so good players surrounded by a midfielder that's underperforming. But that does make sense. It's interesting to see. We spoke about Blakey, if he's going to get now a bit of a role. We don't know how long Lloyd's going to be out for. Your Swans, are they going to completely change it up now? Is Franklin not coming back into that forward line? Do they give someone else a go? Do they try and put Papley through the middle? Who knows what they're going to do? So, yeah, I'm more intrigued with what's going to happen on Team A. I don't know. I could never see a role where Elliott's relevant in fantasy, for example, on Team B. So I think I'd go for A just because I'd be more interested in following that team than I would Team B for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I think Team A is a little bit better in terms of the win now. There's a lot more upside, like Jamie Elliott. Is there much upside that he'll ever go through Collingwood's midfield? Absolutely not. And I totally agree with your Tom Papley point. There could get to a point of this season where Longmire goes, you know what, clearly this isn't working. Let's switch it up. Papley was playing excellent in the midfield at the end of last year, so that could happen again. So imagine if you get a player like Tom Papley now, invest, and then he can end up becoming a top forward for the tail end of this season. That would be great. But we're going to move it on to my favourite part of the show, Pack of the Week. Normally, Kern will take this out with a lot of energy. He's ready to rumble. He's not here this week, but I've got the best substitute I could possibly think of. Callum, mate, take it away with Pack of the Week this week.
Oh, you're throwing to me? Yeah, no, happily, because we have got an absolute gem of a pack. How good? Well, have a look. That good. We've got Gulden there. We've got Sheasel and we've got Oliver in maybe the best game of Connect 3 you've ever seen in a Game Day Squad pack.
Wow.
Can you find a better Dynasty trio than those three? Don't even worry about the cards around it. That three going diagonal across is absolutely insane. Congratulations, Auntie Booger. You are going to take out Pack of the Week this week. Kerm obviously chose it, but I'll take full credit because, damn, that is unreal. So I believe, Tom, you're going to have some packs going their way. Really, really, really good pack. One I would love to get myself.
Yeah, really good pack. Let's be honest, mate. That's an understatement. We got three of the top players in the competition, and two of them are barely over 22 years old. One's 19, the other one I think is 22. Wow, what a pack. And Auntie Booger this week was on our live stream, and she won a couple free cards, which, if you're still here, our live stream we do every single Thursday, and we do a bunch of different giveaways. This week will be the exception. We're a little bit busy. We can't make it. But next week, if you've just started up with Game Day Squad, it is the best way to get new cards and to upgrade your team. So make sure you're there. Join our Discord, which the link is down below, and we'll have an event when it's on so you can join nice and easy. But yes, mate, this pack, fantastic. They started off with a bronze team this week, and now look at that. They've got so many pieces to put in. They're going to be looking fantastic and hopefully be in that top 20 soon. On the hunt like us, Cal.
Yeah, look out for the name Auntie Booger moving up the rankings because they're going to be there. Speaking of moving up the rankings, Tom, let's move on to our final segment here. Lock of the round. And as you can see, after some controversy in the last couple of weeks, I've managed to finally get back onto the board with a win there. Sorry, I fucked up my screen. Oh.
You're good.
So I'm just going to go from win there.
Yep.
But unfortunately, it looks like not only the community, but yourself, Tom, had a win on the weekend. So while my points have gone up, you're still running away with it at the moment. How'd you go? Who'd you pick?
Yes, mate, I am running away with it. I was very happy this week. I picked Stephen Canelio, and prior to the round, I was a little bit worried about his form. He's had a bit of an up and down season. I picked him for 122 fantasy points. He ended up going out and having an absolute day, and he topped it off with 3 sausage rolls, as you do. Well done. Easily got my 122, and now I'm on 1,149 points. Loving my season so far in this segment. It's very different from last year, so I can't complain, mate. I cannot complain at all.
Yeah, you'd be very happy running away there. I went Lockie Neal, just like everyone else in the world thought he was going to have a big game against West Coast. He did. Easily got that score of 120 that I locked him in for. So they were the points I got there. Don't know what Kerm did. Do you have those numbers of how Kerm went in front of you?
Kerm missed this week. He picked Harry Himmelberg for 115 fantasy points, and you saw Himmelberg was in my lineup before as a silver and barely got over 100. So you can just have a guess. Without the 1.1 multiplier, it wasn't enough to get it done for him. Unfortunately, now he goes down the bottom. He had a couple good weeks where he was stringing some wins together. I'm looking for him to bounce back this week, and we'll announce who his lock of the round is a little bit later in the Discord.
Oh, nice, because we don't have that live stream this week where he's going to have to try and make it up. But I'll tell you who I'm going this week, Tom. I'm going for a midfielder who's been in awesome form, and that's Marcus Bontempelli, locking him in for 125 points. Ooh. I have triple checked. I haven't picked him, so I'm not going to find out on the live stream in 2 weeks that I've double picked him. But yeah, he's in my team. He's who I'm going for, and I think he's going to have a huge game. I believe he's up against your Swans.
He absolutely is. Team English, I said, was going to eat this coming week because he's versing Hickey, which means Bont is going to be in and amongst it, hopefully on the receiving end of a lot of his hitouts. But for me this week, I'm looking to maintain my lead. I need to stay out in front, keep picking some good players. And you actually touched on this player before. His name is Liam Duggan. So I'm actually going to back him in this week. He's been in some ripping form. You saw some of the big scores that he's been able to put up. And, he's doing a lot of work down back for West Coast in terms of fantasy at least. He's been getting his hands on the ball a lot. So I'm going to trust him this week to score 124 Game Day Squad fantasy points. I'm thinking it should be quite safe, especially considering the form that he's in. He's got quite a tidy matchup as well. So I'm looking forward to not only starting him in my team this week at the Zeus Cannons, but for him, hopefully ticking off this Lock of the Week selection.
Well, that game is going to be over in Perth, and we're actually over there, Tom. We're not yourself, unfortunately, you didn't get the invite, but myself and Kern, we're going to be over there for the DT Talk live events, of course, brought to you by Game Day Squad. So if you are a fan of what the DT Talk boys do, or you love Game Day Squad, make sure you head over to the DT Talk website and get your tickets on sale for the Thursday night show. Friday one is already sold out. But Tom, the reason I bring that up is not to talk about how much fun and how exciting that's going to be without you being there, but it's the fact that I had the opportunity to go to the game on the Sunday, and it was West Coast versus Richmond, and I thought about it, and you know what? I'd rather fly home earlier than have to sit and watch that game. So yeah, I tell you what, at least now you've got something to keep you interested in that game, because outside of Timmy Torreno, there wasn't going to be much for me.
Yeah, you're too right, mate. You're too right. It should be a little bit of a beatdown. Richmond, definitely need a win as well. They're hunting that top 8 spot. It's so tight from about 9 to 13 right now in the AFL, so they're going to be going to Optus Stadium hoping to do business and get it done very tidily this week. But that is going to wrap us up for another episode of Game Day Squad's Aussie Rule Show. This has been for round 18. We appreciate if you have made it this far in the video. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel so you're notified when new content is coming out. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers for coming along. Peace out, everybody.